Build a bike. It will be fun. That's what they say, right? Not too sure. I had a great experience in the past few days. What's up everyone? So you guys saw the unboxing of these Cut Plasma 5 videos that I posted a few days ago, and I was so excited to build the bike and finally have my own first time trial bike, something that I've been dreaming about for a long time. And I've scouted the internet, I got all the parts I needed, I shipped everything here. When I received the frame last week, it was like, it's now time to build it. And I was so hyped about it because building a bike, it's like you choose your own components, it's fun, you are hands-on with your own bike, and then you're proud of everything at the end because you've done it yourself. And I've had some experience building bikes before. I've built my girlfriend Winspace bike last year without too much problem, but this bike is a whole different beast. And before going into this video, guys, I just want to say that I am not a pro mechanic, and as of right now, we're in May, it's the high season for bike shops, and all the mechanics are super busy right now repairing bikes, so they are not available to help me out with this kind of project. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to take it on myself, and hopefully I can make it. So I was really hyped about making a cool, inspiring videos about building your own bike, and look how fun it was, and look how easy it was. So in today's video, I will be fitting the time trial bike, and I will be mounting it with Ultegra Di2. This is gonna be my first Di2 bike that I build all by myself. Anyways, I'm super up for the challenge. It's going to be fun. But actually, it wasn't. I fucking struggled for hours and hours. I got problems over problems over problems that I all sort of figure out and solve by right now. But I still have a huge problem that I need to fix. I need to put more hours in. I need to put more money in to fix. So the whole point of this video is actually, I just want to share my experience, and hopefully when you guys build your own bikes, you will not make the same mistake as I did. So it all started on the day one of the build. When I was laying down my parts on the ground, I realized that my Di2 group set was missing 2 junction box and 1 cable. So I had to go to the bike shop to get those in a hurry. 2 junction box and 2 cables cost me $150 for those little pieces of plastics. That is absurd. But I mean, you're going Di2, the costs are high, all those little parts are extremely expensive, but you have no other choice. I had a good PDF explaining all the steps to build this bike, this Cut Plasma, and I got started without too much experience. I was like, it's just passing cables through the handlebar is gonna be easy. I started with that part. And goddamn, it wasn't. It wasn't easy because I don't have those magnet tools to carry cables through and fish cables. So 30 minutes in, and this is where I am. I got 2 cables. I also try to go for the frame, and it's gonna be hard. But I'm starting to get the hang of it. Like now, I will use like a sling. I should have the magnets. I don't. So I had to use this really thin string, and with taping it across, passing it through, and after a solid 3 hours, I had, I'm so ashamed, but after 3 hours, I had 2 brake housing cables through the handlebar and 2 Di2 cables through the handlebar as well. And I also mounted the brake levers. All right, I have a hard time to believe it, but buttons are mounted, cables are through. This is not looking good, but I'm probably gonna just tape that. Cables go out there, brake cable works, everything works. It's now 4 p.m. working on this build. This is taking so long. I think the worst will be the internal routing into the frame. Not sure yet, but gotta keep going. There's only one way to go, and it's forward, so. And then I was about to mount the cockpit. It went kind of easy. Maybe it took half an hour to pass the cables through the cockpit, down the down tube, and got the brake cable out under the chainstay, and everything went sort of smooth at that point. Boom, we have a finished cockpit now. So the brake cable that goes right there, coming in and coming down. It makes a super sharp turn right here, but it's there and it's working. The Di2 cable out from the BB. week is done. And then my next big issue is when I wanted to put the battery in. So I took the battery, took the seat post, and then realized that they didn't fit in. But cables come out from the seat post and the battery is in. And oh, what the fuck? What the fuck? Where goes the battery? Shit. So I went back to my boxes and I couldn't find the little adapter for the battery. And my guess is that when the World Tour teams took the group set away from the bikes, they took this little plastic thing that was probably coming with the bike in the original place. So I didn't have any battery holder. So I wasted a solid hour trying to tape the battery to the end of the tube and try to fit it in. And so I can't believe I have to come up with this. So let's see if it fits. And it just didn't work. And at that point, all I wanted was just a functional bike. I did not really care if the battery was like perfectly matched to that seat post. And I just ended up putting some tape around the battery so it can dampen the vibration, drop it in the frame, and that's where it's sitting. It's just sitting somewhere here, not fixed to the seat post or anything, but so far it works. And now I needed to fix the junction box. And what's special about this Scott frame is that the junction box is actually here, right under the saddle. And probably the World Tour team took away the mount for the junction box to be right on the rail. So that was missing. So I came up with a solution. Is I have Velcro here and I have the other side of the Velcro right under the saddle so I can push it in and stick the junction box there safely. But figuring out this solution took me a while. At first I was trying to wrap it with like the rubber strap that comes with the junction box. Did not work. And then tried to wrap it with tie wraps. Did not work either, but this solution worked. And then after probably 6 hours building the bike and always going like 1 step ahead and then 2 steps back, I started to be tired. I was starting to be mentally tired, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do one more thing for this build for tonight. And I had this 650mm cable for a chainstay, and the cable had those little tie wraps around it for vibration dampening. And I was like, oh, let's put it in the chainstay for the rear of the derailleur, and it's going to dampen the vibration down into the chainstay tube. So I started to pull the cable in, and it was kind of hard, but it just keep pushing, and at some point it couldn't go. I was not able to push anymore, and it was not getting out of the bottom bracket. So I started to pull, and that was a stupid mistake. So I started to pull the cable, and then start to go out while it's around this part, so it started to move back in. And then here, there's a choke point around this place where it's actually just as wide as the end of the Di2 electric cable, but with the tie wraps in for the vibration dampening, block itself, and I had the cable stuck right there into the chainstay. And I start to pull, I'm trying to be super careful there, not break the cable. And at some point, I just pull a bit too much and the cable breaks and the tie wrap stays right into the chainstay with the head of the Di2 cable. And it was just blocking the entrance. And at that point, I just started to hammer Allen keys and try to find out a way to push it back. And I couldn't, it was really stuck there. And I was like, I just screw up the bike. I will need to run the cable externally now because the hole is blocked. So I called in my friend Oliver. We tried to brainstorm a bunch of ideas to take it out. And at some point, he comes out with this idea to screw in a screw through that chainstay where the cables get in. And hopefully, it's going to bite into the plastic that is there. And it actually kind of worked. So I pushed in with the drill. And then the screw was stuck there with the plastic, the Di2 cable. And then using my brute force, I started to pull on that. And it took so much force, but at some point I got it out and then the hole was reopened. So I was able to pass in a new Di2 cable. Oh, tabarnak! Asti! ici?
Montre-moi le nom. Mais c'est ridicule comment tu l'as déviandé.
So that is a silly mistake. I now know to not put the tie wraps cable through that chainstay, but it's something I need to learn. Right now, day number 2. Well, this day actually started when I had to go back to the bike shop to buy a new cable to replace the chainstay one. Fucking another 40 bucks. But I got back to my parents' place where I cut the seat posts, I fixed the battery, I fixed the junction box. Everything was moving forward. And all it was missing at that point was the bottom bracket and some minor adjustment for the brakes. So then I start to tighten the cockpit, and that's where a second disaster struck me. The hole in the cockpit that lets the wires out is super small, and it actually has this also the screw that tightens these key bars and the whole riser. I was not aware. I start to tighten this screw, and out of nowhere, the right side of the bike just doesn't work. So the button on top and the button into the lever, they just don't work. I start to panic because I just didn't know what happened until I start to unscrew what I've done, and then I saw the Di2 cable was crushed. So that cable was actually the connection between the right side of the bike and the whole rest of the Di2 system. So with it being crushed, it was all internal. I was able to put it out just a little bit to fix it, because taking this cable out would have taken me so much work to reroute everything. So I called in a friend who's an electrical engineer and say, hey, can you rewire or solder those cables? And he was able to. So I went to his place and he fixed it in 10 minutes. It was super easy for him. Put back the cable, and then all the bike was working once again. So now day 3 was the last day of the build, and I was sure to complete it for that day and go out for a ride in the evening. In the morning, I started to mount the wheels, mount the cassette, start to adjust the brakes so everything was working. And then I went to my buddies, Francois, who knew how to install bottom brackets. So I go to his place and we start to install the Hambini bottom bracket. As the bottom bracket goes in, the first side, when it was about to go into the second side, the hole was too small. It was starting to chip in the frame from the inside. Francois was super smart and he did not just brute force the bottom bracket through. He put it out, and then we analyzed and we start to see that carbon was starting to chip. So the bottom bracket hole on the Scott Plasma was too small for the precise size of the Hambini bottom bracket. So what we actually did was start to sand the inside of the frame just to give it a little edge. And when Francois redid the bottom bracket install, it slid in perfectly, and now it's there probably forever because we don't have the tool to take the bottom brackets out. At his place, I also installed the Nova Speed oversized pulley wheel and also installed the fairing. So we have a fairing right under the chainstay there. There's a fairing into the front brake as well. So everything was good to go. Everything was ready. I just suited up, called in onto my Instagram that I was going to the racetrack. So then I commute to the circuit. Everything went well. All the shifting, the brakes were doing great. And as soon as I get on the track, my right side shifters doesn't work. I don't know. I didn't know why. So I pull over, I dismount the screws, and then I look, and the two cables on the right side were snapped in half. So probably I hit the bump and the screw inside over there snapped the cables, and that was a huge bummer. I was so frustrated because I spent hours doing that wiring and learning, and just to come out to 2 Di2 cables cut, that's another 70 bucks that I would need to put on the bike. That's another 4 or 5 hours of work to reroute the cables internally into that cockpit. Man, it's a big bummer, but it did not stop me from riding the bike. So what I've actually done is I've took the right ski jump and I switched with the left ski jump. I could go up with the left ski, and with the left handlebar I was able to go down a gear. So actually I rode that bike for about 70k, and whoo, it's fast, it's fun. I really love time trial bikes. I start to get a hang of it. And the more I will ride this bike, the more my position will get better, will get more aero. I'll be more comfortable pushing bigger watts into that time trial position. So here I am on the 4th day of the build. I'm extremely bummed out because I thought I would be done at this point, and I'm not. My nightmare of rewiring cables is about to start. If you go on to the project of building your own bikes and you're not a professional mechanic, fucking good luck. I hope you won't run into all the issues that I ran into for my time trial build. But to build a real bike, it's sort of easier because everything is more standard. The routing is simpler. Time trial bike like this, it has another level of complexification, and I did realize that because my skills were definitely not up there to build this bike, but I actually did, so that's great. Even if I had so much ups and downs building this bike, I'm glad that I kind of get it done and I got a final result. Yes, there are still more work needed, but at this point, I rode the bike and it's amazing and I'm super stoked. So to finish this video, I want to say again another shout out to Pro Owned Cycling. So Pro Owned Cycling buys bike from the World Tour teams and then they resell them to customers. So if you want to put your hands on a Scott time trial bike and hopefully build it and have less trouble than me, head over to their website, links into the description down below. Alright, this is it for today's quick video. If you enjoyed, please don't forget to leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you aren't already. I have a lot more cycling content coming in the next few weeks that you don't want to miss out. My name is Charles and I will see you guys on the road or to the next video. Peace.